I love this typewriter. It is so satisfying to use that it actually motivates me to write. I use it to brainstorm, to journal, record ideas, make lists. But from the day I picked it up on Facebook Marketplace, it's been missing one piece, which has slowly turned into a major annoyance. So these two pieces on the front are used to adjust the margins. Right now, I'm all the way up against the left margin, and if I type along, you see that the indicator moves to the left until I approach the right margin. It dings before you approach the margin so that you have time to finish your sentence. You can add a dash if you want to carry on the next line. You advance the carriage, it hits the left margin, and you continue typing on the next line. Now, of course, these margins are adjustable. I can bring it in, it hits the indicator, and now if I go to the next line, my left margin is inset a bit. I can do the same thing with the right margin. And now I'm only typing in this small part of the page. This indicator tells you exactly where you are on the page along this scale. And similarly, each margin has an indicator, except from the day I bought this typewriter, this one was missing. The indicators are made of sheet metal, and it looks like the one for the right margin just snapped off. For a while, this wasn't a big deal because I was only using letter-sized pieces of paper in the typewriter. But I also like using this thing to type out addresses on envelopes when I send out stickers to my patrons. Sometimes I type on smaller pieces of paper, and I found myself adjusting the margins a lot more than I expected. So I really want this indicator back, and I want it to look good. I want to keep this bottom part, but I don't need this anymore, so I'm just going to snip that off. There we go. I'm going to need some dimensions off of these, so I made this sketch to keep track. So I want to know the width of this plate, 0.47 inches. And if I'm going to the holes, call that 7/8 of an inch. So let's make this about 1 inch, and then we can always cut it down a little bit if necessary. And then the distance from the hole center to the bottom is about 1/8 of an inch, 0.125. All right, it's nice even numbers. Makes sense considering this was made in Canada when Canada was still using the imperial system. And the length of the tip, let's see the width of this part. So right here, 0.16 inches. So I'm in Fusion 360 and I'm gonna start by making a sketch on the XY plane. And on this, I'm gonna transfer the real life sketch that I just made. So I'll start with a rectangle. This is 0.275 by 0.47. Then we can draw a construction line from the bottom, and this was 1 plus 0.125. I'll draw a vertical line right here and then make my slope. Try 11 degrees, just eyeballing it to make sure it's right. And then I'll mirror this line over our construction line. All right, I don't think that's quite steep enough, so I'm gonna change this angle to 13 degrees. Let's try 15 and create some fillets. So I'll create 2 fillets. That looks pretty spot on. So I'm gonna draw a line like this, and then this will go from here. That's looking good. So I'll mirror this over the center. Then I'll create an arc there to there about. There we go, that looks good. Then I'll mirror this over the center. Nice, that's looking good. We want a fillet between these 2 lines. And if I compare to this one, yeah, something like that. Beautiful. That looks super similar to this existing one. Now I'm going to extrude this, and then, bear with me here, I'm going to 3D print this. This 3D printed piece won't be our final indicator, but we're gonna use it as a tool. So I'm gonna print a few of these, just in case we need an extra. Print it out of PETG, or PETG as some people say, and we'll do 100% infill so it's nice and strong. Let's get those printed. So I have this piece of galvanized steel flashing. It's a little thinner than the indicators, but I think it'll work just fine. So I'm gonna use a bit of super glue to attach these together. I'll spray some activator on the flashing. All right, that didn't work. Well, those separated super easily the moment I slightly bended the steel. So I don't think this strategy is gonna work. Try something else. All right, take two. This time I'm just gonna put a little bit of super glue on here. Activator, press it into place. And now I'm gonna use a Sharpie to trace around it. I wanted to use marking blue, but they don't have it. Oh, shit, it already broke. Ooh, you know what? Maybe hot glue will work better for now. All right, third time's the charm. Just gonna do a little bit of hot glue. Because this hot glue is kind of flexible, I'm hoping it'll stand up to the shear stress. There we go. All right, what's that old expression? Measure it with calipers, mark it out with a Sharpie, cut it with a chainsaw, something like that. There we go. Got that funny little bump right there because that's where the hot glue squeezed out, but that at least gives us a starting point. Just trying to rough cut out some of the material so that I have less work later on. Oh yeah, we got plenty of room. Let's get carving. All right, that is pretty spot on. So now comes the part of this project that I have been the most nervous about, adding this little indicator notch. I've gone ahead and clamped my new piece to the table, and I'm gonna use some masking tape to try to frame out that notch. Give myself as little room for error as possible. That's right in the center, pretty bang on. I'm gonna try to add the notch with this guy, the cutoff wheel on my rotary tool. It's gonna be a little tricky, but I think we can do it if we're really careful. So it's gonna be just like that. Just a little touch and move slightly down. All right, let's do it. All right, let's see. All right, you know, it's not perfectly centered and it's a little wider than I would have hoped because of the curve of the cutoff wheel, but I'll take it. It's handmade, it's all good. Next thing I wanna do is transfer these holes onto here. So I'll line these up. Oh no, did that just snap? No, just bent a little bit. Okay, this is very thin, so I gotta be careful. Whew. I'll try to clamp more of this so we got more purchase. There we go. Drilling a little faster helped. So I'm not sure how well you can tell on camera, but these two pieces are pretty different colors. This one has about 100 years of patina on it and kind of has a bronze brass hue to it. Whereas this piece is basically brand new steel and is, well, steel colored. So I wanna try aging this a bit and getting its color a little bit closer to the original. So this is antique finish. As its name implies, it adds a nice antique patina to leatherwork. You rub it into the tooling and it brings them out and makes them pop. But I'm gonna try using it to add an artificial patina onto this piece. I have no idea if this will work. So with leatherwork, you kind of rub this in, let it sit, and then wipe off the excess. It's kind of just like rubbing this in dirt. Hopefully it will sit in some of the scratches and make it look nice and old. All right, I don't want to wipe it off too aggressively because I want to keep the antiquing in the indicator tip. I like how much that darkened. That looks cool. I like it. Lovely. So I'm just putting my new piece behind the existing. Oh no. Existing. Second screw I dropped. Oh, I just heard it drop. Where did you go? There it is. Okay, we're good. Didn't lose the screw. So I think there's enough thread that it should hold both of these pieces in. Lovely, all right. So now I need to bend this piece so that it points to the scale, like this one. So I think first we need to bend the whole thing, whoops, bend the whole thing in a little bit. And then on this guy, there's a pretty obvious bend at about halfway. Put my ice pick right behind and just give it a little bend around there. There we go. And bend it down a little more. And bend this a little more. And the tricky part is that the whole point is also bent. You know what I can do is I can put the ice pick behind, use that to kind of brace, and then just press with the top of the pliers. There we go. There's that bend. Oh, nice. Oh, that looks good. You know what? That might be it. I think that's it. I think we got it. I love this thing so much. If you would like to see what I'm up to behind the scenes, consider supporting this channel on Patreon. All of my patrons at every tier get exclusive access to my behind the scenes Instagram page, where I post about projects as I'm working on them. To learn more about that, head on over to patreon.com/morleycurt. And I would like to give a big thanks to my top patron, my mom, Kathy Kurt. I love you, Mom. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video.